This is 3 News Daily.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to 3 News Daily. I'm Stephanie Haney here on this Friday, October 21st. Thank you for being here for our top stories from WKYC.com and our WKYC app. And unfortunately, we start with heartbreaking news today. We have a tragic update on the missing Cleveland woman who was a student at Princeton University. 20-year-old Miss Rajunetti was found dead yesterday afternoon. She was found near the edge of the Princeton campus behind tennis courts in a remote area. Now, we are still waiting on autopsy results to be able to report her cause of death, but as of now, officials do not suspect criminal activity was involved. We'll keep you updated as we continue to gather more information. And in Akron, the body of a 66-year-old woman was found by an emergency medical services crew that responded to a 911 call from Timber Top Apartments. When they got there, they found high levels of carbon monoxide. A second resident reported feeling sick, and one couple was found unconscious with their 2 children awake at home. 20 of the apartment units were evacuated, and 8 people were taken to a hospital. 3 News' Neil Fisher will have more on this story. That's starting at 4 o'clock during What's New. In Cleveland, 5 people were shot yesterday at a barbershop, and one of them is in critical condition today. Police say that a man walked into the IFIXUGLY barbershop on State Road and fired a gun before speeding away in a red 4-door vehicle. 4 men between 19 to 34 years old and a 29-year-old female were hit by bullets. Now, 4 of them are recovering today, but 1 person was shot in the chest, and that's the person that's in critical condition and still in the hospital today. Our Lindsay Buckingham will bring us updates later on this situation this evening. And in Akron, a gas station cashier has been charged with negligent homicide for the death of an innocent bystander. The 55-year-old cashier and a customer were arguing last month at an Akron Sunoco, and things escalated to the point that the cashier pulled out a handgun and shot at the customer, but missed and hit 48-year-old Taurus Brewster instead. Taurus died earlier this week. The customer involved in the argument has also been arrested and charged with aggravated menacing. All right, now we'll switch gears to a fond farewell. For 40 years, Coach Chuck Kyle has led the St. Ignatius Wildcats football team to 11 state titles, 2 national championships, and countless other accolades. And tonight is the last regular season game of his career, and his daughter, our own Maureen Kyle from the Go Team, has a special tribute for him. Let's hear that now.
On the eve of your last regular season game, it's hard to imagine anything will change. We've done this our entire lives.
Her first starting role today, Maureen Kyle.
Hi.
Every fall weekend, we would lay out our blankets, claiming space on the metal bleachers, hearing the sounds of a roaring crowd and a marching band, and watching you pace up and down, back and forth along the sidelines, probably putting in more yardage than any other player. We sat with our grandparents, our aunts, uncles, and cousins, our friends. We sat through heat, rain, snow. We rode buses to Columbus. We had our superstitions. We screamed for every touchdown and became well-versed in first downs and flags thrown. We got used to Mom yelling, "Let's go D!" louder than anyone else in the stands. Yes, we all fell in love with the game of football, but what you actually put into motion was so much more than X's and O's. You taught me, and all of us, a playbook for life. You taught us dedication. You and Mom always laugh about how you coached track practice up until you had to put on your tux and head to the church to get married on a Friday night, but that was you. If you said you would do something, nothing stood in the way of that commitment. And it wasn't enough to just show up. I've run into your former players who say they remember you staying a little late after practice to throw them the ball a few more times until they got the play just right. And even now, when my girls come over, they know Grandpa is going to play from the moment they walk through the door until you help them get in the car. There are very few people in this world who can say that they've spent 50 years in the same job, working 7 days a week with little complaint. You've also been a model of sportsmanship. You've always shown that an opponent is only an opponent for 48 minutes on the field. And once that game is done, there's no rivalry. There's just an ally with the same love of the game. One of the most valuable lessons you hammered home, there's no victory dance in the end zone. You don't boast or brag about the thing that you are expected to do. You take a quick moment of pride and continue on the job. Luckily, your overall humility was a beacon of light because I didn't exactly inherit your athletic abilities. Humility helped when I only scored 4 points within 4 years of CYO basketball. And besides, the most important thing was that I was on a team. And even though most people see you with your game face on, humor was always your secret strength, only known to all of us kids who grew up learning from you.
Blonde hair and a little goofy. And he's only a freshman, and you can tell it.
Is your dad intense? It's a question I get a lot. But you truly live out the advice that you gave me after that very short walk down the aisle. Make sure you laugh every day. When we were moody teens, you diffused our angst with jokes. After you came home from a long day in the classroom and on the field, there were a few impromptu dance parties. And at holidays, everyone wanted to get in on the silly games that Uncle Chico made up. There's no one else who coaches like you. And even though we won't be sitting on those cold metal bleachers every weekend next year, there's no erasing your past accomplishments. And we're not talking about trophies, but the thousands of people that you've impacted with your philosophies. Dad, as a teacher of literature, you know that this is just the start of a new chapter. And we know from watching you on the sidelines, you don't sit still, which is a good thing, because there's a bunch of little kids around here who are ready to learn life lessons.
Oh my goodness, what a beautiful tribute from a daughter to her dad. And he has obviously meant so much to this community. I think one of the parts of that stood out the most to me was that your opponent only lasts for 48 minutes on the field. What a mindset to have. Just incredible. And we'll be celebrating Coach Chuck Kyle today. So make sure you're watching everything on WKYC today and on WKYC Plus. Not going to be a dry eye in that stadium tonight, I can tell you that. All right. Now let's talk about what's happening in Playhouse Square, because right now the longest running musical with more than 130 million viewers worldwide is touring here in Cleveland. The Tony Award-winning show Les Misérables kicked off its national tour last weekend, and with 4 of our own in the cast. I got to talk with the show's producer and one of its stars to talk about why they're launching from right here in Northeast Ohio and how it feels to bring this story of love, courage, and redemption back to live in-person audiences across the country. Here's that story.
Cleveland is a great place to open a show.
Sir Cameron Mackintosh is widely considered to be the most prolific producer of musical theater. His productions have taken him around the world, and he visited Cleveland last week to celebrate the launch of Les Misérables at Playhouse Square.
Cleveland audiences are in for a great treat with a really terrific production. This production is actually sort of, I call it COVID interruptus, because we'd run for about 4 years and then we had to close down for, it must be nearly 3 years that we've closed down. But it's allowed us to pull together a completely different set of wonderful new performers.
Broadway TV and movie actor Preston Truman Boyd is one of those performers, playing Inspector Javert. But it's not his first time working in Cleveland. He says he's impressed with what our theater scene has to offer.
It's second to New York as far as seats go. As far as per capita, it's ingrained in Clevelander to be a part of that and to get everything rolling again as far as national tours and entertainment goes again. It's just great.
This is Preston's first national tour post-pandemic, and for him, the timing is perfect.
Is there anything particular that drew you to this story of Les Misérables?
This show has stood the test of time. It's a show, especially now, people really need to hear the story. It's the survival of the human spirit.
And with Les Mis running through October 30th, he's hoping to see lots of Ohioans make it out to the show.
Having the audience back in the seats and feeding off of that energy is something that we've all missed, and it's why we do this, is to make that human connection with the audience. So to have that back is very special.
Sir Mackintosh agrees and wants to share the feeling with as many people as possible here in Ohio and beyond.
What is it that you hope people take away from this particular live stage performance of Les Misérables?
But there is nothing like live theatre. And I think through the ups and downs the whole world has gone through on pandemics, and how both from artists' point of view and indeed audiences' point of view, we were deprived for so long. What I've loved is people realise that there is nothing like live theatre. Seeing a show on this scale, these are things you can never take for granted.
This is Stephanie Haney for 3 News.
I'll tell you what, I could have sat there and talked with Sir Macintosh for hours. He had so many incredible stories about his productions to share, and I was so happy to catch up with Preston. I first met him when I was living in New York, and we interviewed him for my podcast that I had when I was living there, when he was on the play that Nothing Goes Right, or the play that goes wrong. I can't remember the exact title of it, but incredible show. He's an incredible actor, and I have to shout out our local performers. We've got 3 Baldwin-Wallace University alumni and 1 Otterbein alum in the show. Addie Morales from BW, she's playing Cassette, a huge role. And then in the ensemble, we've got BW grads Ethan Rogers and Eden Mao, and Otterbein graduate Steve Zarnecki. So if you want to catch the show, Les Misérables is running through October 30th at Playhouse Square. We've got the link for those tickets on WKYC.com. All right, now I have a sweet surprise to tell you about. Remember, I told you yesterday I would be at Mason's Creamery with Guardian's Steven Kwan. Well, he was there scooping ice cream for fans. I snuck behind the counter to talk with him about all of the support he's seeing. So let's take a look at that. We are here at Mason's Creamery in Ohio City, putting a very different twist on a meet and greet. We are with Guardians left fielder Steven Kwan. And I have to tell you, just standing here watching this happening, it's incredible the number of fans that are here to say hello, have a moment with him, have a little chat, and scoop a little ice cream. I'm going to see if I can pop in with him here. Steven, if I can ask you, what's the ice cream flavor you're recommending to the people in line here today?
I mean, I'm a sucker for mint chocolate chip, so I'm going to go with that. But this black sesame looks pretty good, so I guess the first guy liked it, so I guess I'd recommend to anybody else.
I have to take this moment, Steven, to tell you that I actually picked you as the breakout player for the Guardians in our work poll, so thank you for being so good at your job.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
And I want to congratulate you, too, because you've been just announced as a finalist for the Gold Glove this year for left fielder. That's incredible. How are you feeling about that?
Yeah, it's really grateful for that. There's obviously a lot of great left fielders, so just to be mentioned in that at all is a real honor.
And just quickly, any final words you have on the season? It means a lot to the people here, obviously.
I'm just grateful for all the people that came out and showed support. It just makes me want to come back next year and win for the whole city of Cleveland, so I appreciate everybody that came out.
That's exactly what we want to. All right, I'll let you get back to these people who are here to see you. Thank you very much, Steven.
He is such a kind person. I can tell you, it meant so much to those fans that were in line, and that line was blocks down the road. I heard so many thank yous. It really does mean a lot to the people here in Cleveland. So one more thank you, Steven Kwan, and thank you for giving me that street cred here for the worker poll. All right, we have a story now for the bikers. The Cleveland Metro Parks has something exciting in store for you. There's a brand new bike park that opened yesterday. It's called the Cliffs Bike Park, and it's located at the Ohio and Erie Canal Reservation in Cuyahoga Heights. It includes a bunch of all new features like a paved pump track, outdoor competition course, professional paved jump line, and a youth bike playground. I don't even know what all of those things are, but it looks very exciting, and I'm very happy for the bikers in town. And we know that Halloween is right around the corner. It's just 10 days away now. And if you are feeling overwhelmed by trying to find the best skeleton, pumpkin, and witch displays, we have you covered here at 3 News. Text the word trick, the word spooky, or the word haunted to 216-344-3300, and you'll get a link to one of 3 guides that we have at WKYC.com. We've got tips on where to find the best Halloween decorations and haunted houses, and also your complete guide to trick-or-treat times in your neighborhood. So check that out. Okay, before we say goodbye here today, I want to share a tribute to Hanukkah. The U.S. Postal Service launched its new Hanukkah Forever stamp from right here in Orange at the Temple Emmanuel, and the stamp art, just beautiful. It features the design from an original wall hanging that was hand-dyed, and it shows a colorful, abstract Hanukkah menorah. This is the 9-branch candelabra. There's blue and purple colors in it that are used to represent the sky. There's greens and browns representing the earth, and bright yellows and oranges representing the Festival of Lights, as Hanukkah is also known. It's absolutely beautiful. Check that out on WKYC.com. Okay, thanks for being here for 3 News Daily. It has been quite the week, my friends. I hope you enjoy that 70-degree weather this weekend that our meteorologist team has been telling us about. And we'll see you back here on Monday for more 3 News Daily.